want your calls on this. Should we make all parking meters take cash? 0207 862 2222. It's become increasingly rare to be able to pay with change. Many councils turning to apps or phone call options instead. City of York Council is the latest to come under fire for removing cash meters in the city centre. It says it has a secure pay-by-phone system that means people don't need a smartphone in order to pay. Many other councils have card-only machines. But is that excluding older people and those who are paid in cash? Or is it simply the future? Claudia, very briefly, this is going to keep some people, well, actually, like Janice in Essex, stuck in their homes because it's another reason for them not to go out, another thing they don't trust.
Yeah, that's it. And I have to caveat this by saying I am basically a cashless person. I pay for everything on my phone. I even have a watch that I can use to scan through whatever I do. I've got my digital wallet on there. But that being said, millions still rely on cash, especially pensioners, especially vulnerable people. And I think, you know, what we don't want to be doing is taking away the element of choice for those people. I know we live in a digital world, but when there's still a significant amount of people that are relying on cash, they need to have the option. They need to have both.
OK, we're going to have to take a break there. We're going to hear from JJ and we're going to take your calls after the break. Do we need to make sure all parking meters take cash? 0207 862 2222. That's the number you need. See you very soon. Claudia's worried it'll leave old people behind. What do you think? 0207 862 2222. Stand up, JJ. Jump up and down, mate. Is that cash in your pocket?
These are my house keys.
Oh, OK. That's the only jangle comes to you. So look, we've established you don't carry cash with you.
No, I do not.
Does that mean you don't think anybody should have the right to pay in cash this way?
I think when it comes to paying for parking, yeah, you don't have cash. Sorry. Majority of people don't use cash anymore. We're going cashless. I don't like it. I'm not a fan of it, but that's the way it is for most people, especially the youngsters. I do think our councils also run out of money. You put money into a cash machine, into a parking thing, somebody has to be paid to go to that machine 2-3 times a day and empty it. We haven't got the cash, even for those little small jobs anymore. We haven't got the money to pay those people.
It's going to dissuade people from going, and therefore they won't spend the cash. So there's fewer people who feel like society applies to them because they're excluded, because they maybe are unbankable or they choose to use cash.
What I would say is we should make it a bit easier. So they should have a tap option. I'm pretty good at technology, and even I get frustrated and confused when I go into town to park and I've got to look at the sign and put in this number, then call this number, or download the app. I find that a bit confusing myself. But if they could just have a tap the option instead with your card, I think that would help.
People don't trust it. I'm looking at my mum's generation. They look at that and say, I don't want to take that with me because I don't know if somebody's going to tap my pocket and get money out of me that way. Yeah. I know cash. I trust it. I can see it. I've used it all my life.
Well, unfortunately, Matt's mum, unfortunately, this is the way the world's going. So you know what she should do, your mum? She should get herself a good son who can convince her and teach her to use this stuff properly.
Good luck with that. Rosie's in Essex. Let's find out what you think. Rosie, do you still use cash? Would you miss it? Would it stop you going into town?
Hello, good morning.
Good morning, Rosie.
Good morning. I think we should just be fluid. If people want to use cash, use cash. If you want to tap, tap. This thing about being told it's got to be this or it's that is wrong. And bottom line is, if you've got cash in your pocket and you're parked, you're going to the doctor's, it's on a high street, it's a tap only, what are you going to do then? If you go to a parking meter, again, say a doctor's scenario, you've only got a card, it's cash. Yep. What are you going to do?
OK, so
we need to just relax and be a bit more fluid.
So, Rosie, what you're suggesting is that we have 3 or 4 different ways to pay for parking. So we have coins, we've got an app, we've got a tap, we've got maybe a phone line as well. That feels like a lot.
No, I think at the moment, because we're in that interim period of transition, now from the point of view, I'll change it slightly. In May, 30-odd thousand feet in the sky. They wouldn't, I wanted something to eat, something to drink. They wouldn't take cash and they wouldn't take my Barclay card.
OK.
So if I was on my own, what would I do then? Obviously, I wouldn't eat or drink. But luckily, I was with somebody, they paid for it and I transferred it into their account when we landed. But where does that one work?
Okay, so
We
we're,
need to be more fluid.
as you say, we're in an interim period, but do you have to force people? Is that what it is? It's like, this doesn't exist anymore. This way of paying doesn't exist anymore. You've got to adopt what everybody else is using, whether it's contactless or inserting your card.
I think we should have cash, definitely, in society. I think we shouldn't be phasing that out completely. But I do understand what you're saying. If you've got one machine, you've got cash option, tap option, app option. I understand. But that's what life is now.
Yeah. I mean, that's the point, JJ. If we are going to graduate to the system where we all are all cashless, you can't leave people out. They've got to be taken with it so that they can adopt it gradually. And at the moment, we're not there.
According to the AA, 40% of drivers actually prefer to pay in cash for parking. Yeah. I mean, I find that, as someone that doesn't really use cash, I find that really surprising. But are we going to disregard 40% of our population? Because I get that also, when you live in a big city, that's a lot... Like being cashless is, I think, a lot more prevalent. When I go up to Yorkshire, where my family are from, I go to the pub with my dad and he said, oh, we'll stop by the ATM on the way to the pub to draw out some cash. And I'm like, what? I find that baffling. But actually, a lot of rural areas, they use cash a lot more than they do in cities. So I think we shouldn't be disregarding those people.
I think if we, down here in London and Birmingham, where I'm from, I don't think it's as big a problem. I really don't. I think people are happy to be having less cash on them. But as you say, in the smaller areas, I mean, this is in City of York, where transport, it's not as easy to say get into town from your small village. So the people are going to have to drive in. But I'm sorry, it's the future.
Another thing we really need to consider is that there's a high street is on its knees, right? So the shops are really struggling. We need to be doing whatever we can to enable people to get into the towns, to spend their money. Hospitality's on its knees. Like
And JJ, the people that like to use cash are the same people that like to go to the post office, that like to go and say hello to the butcher. We're talking about a group of people that like doing things in an analogue way.
Yeah.
And we're going to be excluding exactly those people. Businesses will suffer, jobs will be lost as a result.
But if it's a case of we can only either have cash parking or digital, unfortunately, there's more people who are able to use digital than the minority.
I would agree. I don't think it should be one or the other. I think both.
OK, let's take another call. Robin's in Gloucestershire. Where you are, Robin, are you struggling to pay with cash or have you moved on already?
No, I have options. I mean, I live between Stroud and Cirencester. I live right in the middle. So if I go to Stroud, I can pay cash. They always have cash machines. When I go to Cirencester, it's card, and it's twice as expensive. I don't want to talk about this too loudly because I don't want to change from cash to card in Stroud. But I like both. But I mean, it's inconvenient often to have the cash. It's a kind of, it can be a bother having to go to a bank or getting change or whatever. All I'm saying is I think the option should be there. It's going to be too expensive, isn't it, to make everybody pay, change it all to cash.
I mean, the expensive thing feels like having all of the options, because in addition to having that system there to pay by card, if you've got cash, you've got to get someone to collect it. They're at risk. They might be targeted by someone, so they've got to be secure. They've got to make sure that those people, there's a job in that point as well. And then you've got to take it to the bank as well. So all of that feels like expense and extra jobs, where if we make the move, we'll cut out that extra expense, wouldn't we?
That's a good point, actually. I hadn't thought of that. Yes, that is a good point. And as for being, the kind of people that would want cash, aren't or against the technology of digital. I'm 81. I don't have a problem with either.
Yeah, I mean, I know people very close to me, Robin, that do have a problem. I'm glad that you're an early adopter, relatively speaking. So just put me in the picture between your two shopping centres, Cirencester, where there's no cash, and Stroud, where you can use it. Is it just the expense? What makes you choose one or the other?
My favourite places are in Stroud.
Right.
You know, Stroud is infamously or famous for the alternative ways of life because this is the home of Extinction Rebellion. Just two people, kicked off Extinction Rebellion, and it was Stroud. I mean, anti-vaxxers lying on the road. We have all that going on.
Wow.
Very bizarre, very interesting.
Well, I'm surprised you're not allowed to pay for your parking with eggs or twigs or something. Robin, thank you very much for your call. Let's take another one. David's in West Midlands. David, do you prefer to pay with cash, or is that now a thing of the past and we should just get on with it?
No, I believe cash is okay, card is okay. My problem is with the apps, when you've got to pull in and pay with an app.
What's the issue with that, David? Because when they work very quickly, and you don't even have to be there to do it. You can be in a cafe and you can extend your time. That's always felt like a huge convenience for me.
Well, for me, it's a total inconvenience because I'm getting 75, coming 75 now. Telephones and apps are not my thing at all. And when I pull in and I see a thing saying, can you pay with an app? I say, no, sorry. But unfortunately, I could be out of the shop or out of the car park and have to pay because I've pulled on the car park.
OK, so you've got an allergy to apps, but you don't mind paying other ways, using a card or cash if you've got it?
Correct.
OK. Why do you think cash is important? Why do you think there should still be that option, David?
Well, I think older people use cash.
OK.
Simple as that. Older people like me struggle with apps.
OK. So how long should we give it? Is it 5, 10 years before we get rid of them completely? I don't mean the people. I want to make that clear. I mean the cash machines. Sorry, David.
I think they'd rather get rid of the people.
Oh. Not while they keep calling into this show, David. Thank you so much. Don't go anywhere. Don't go leaving us. Thanks for all your calls on that. You're brilliant. We've got a